morning, sir, and all my colleagues. So today I'm going to be talking about presenting about my assignment form, which is the reflective PowerPoint and detail. So the table of contents, we have the brief explanation on my assignment 2 and 3. For the second one is the reasons on why I chose this topic, which is the assignment 2 and 3, and any alternatives to consider. So for the third one is the verification of context and also the facts of my story, and moving on to the positives and negatives of my assignment. The fifth one is what are the changes that can be made, and the last one is my conclusion in both assignments. So, for the brief explanation on assignment 2 and 3, the topic I chose to write about in assignment 2, which is the election on 2022, and the title of the news is Increasing Popularity of Youth Votes in 2022 General Election of Malaysia. So basically, both news starts off with the place where it was taken, which is in Penang, and also the date. So basically, for this assignment 2, the youth, why I chose this topic is because I found it interesting, which the age of 18 to 20 years old can start to vote. That is why I think of writing this topic. So there are a few quotes that are taken from this news article from the internet, which I feel it is related to the topic. So for the first one is youths are the key of solution for the country, which was told by Nasruddin in 2022. Nasruddin also stated that the reason why more youths have been registering or being aware to vote is because of social media have a strong influence on leading the youth to vote. So for the second quote that I chose is, which is also stated by the member of the Muda Party, Sheikh Sadiq, that Malaysian youths are effectively kingmakers because they are the reason for our country's success in the future, as they are really talented and wise. So these are the main key points that I chose to put in my news. So moving on, there are two interviewees that I interviewed for assignment 2. The first interviewee, which is his name is Darren Mendoza, and he is a human resource manager of Barkat Company in Penang. He told that it is promising to see the youths come together and vote, as they can change our future into something good. This is what he said. And the second quote from another interviewee, who is Joanne, and she is also a student in Penang. She said that during the interview that it is a great thing to see youths have come together to vote for the right party to rule the country. But it is concerning on youths that are age 18 to vote because they might not have the knowledge on our political views. So there are a good side in one of the interviewee, and there is also a concerning side on the other. So moving on to the assignment 3, which I talked about, heavy rains causes flash flood in Penang. So basically, this news I'm reporting about the areas that are affected by the flash flood because of the monsoon season has started in Malaysia. So I chose a quote from the State Executive Councillor that was being used for this news because it has a clear statement on how was the situation of certain areas have been flooded due to the flash flood. So basically, his statement was there is a concern that the situation might be worsened because the height of flood that have been recorded has been went up to 102 millimeters in Machang Ubon area. The reason why I chose this quote is because he stated that how the situation has worsened throughout certain areas in Penang, and this shows a clearer view for the readers. So moving on to the interviewees, there are also two interviewees that I interviewed. So the first interviewee, which is Lai Wen Ip, who is a bachelor staying in Bukit Bertajam. His statement was the flood in our area have been tough to deal because of his damages of some of his properties in his house, and also the flood causes his place to be dirty as the sewerage pond is close by to his house and the water can cause his family to fall in. So this is his statement. And for the second interviewee, which was also interviewed by a guy named Joel from Bukit Bertajam as well, his statement from the interview was his place was also affected by the flood. It's because our area is on the lower grounds, and most of the time, if it rains heavily, he have to park his car further out from his place so that he will prevent water getting into his car and ruining his car. So these are the phases, these are the causes that they have led to the flash floods. So moving on to my next slide, which is the reason why I chose this topic and if there are any alternatives to consider. So for the reasons, the topic that I chose is based on the viewers and also the time prominent because there is a news value in it. And for the assignment 2 is based on the country's decision for the citizens on which politician to lead the country. And assignment 3 is to show the natural disaster that happened in Penang. And for both assignments are done by researching through media and from the interviews. So for the alternatives, other topics could be chosen based in Penang at the time frame. And also assignment 3 can be reported based on the most frequent flash floods areas in Malaysia during the monsoon season, such as Selangor and a few other states that is more crucial at the time. Moving on to my next slide, which is the verification of context and also the facts of my stories. The context verification is the context of the interviewees are based on the people that I know and also from our ET college students. The concept from the interviews has also been accepted from them to write on the news. And the interviewees from assignment 2 and 3 have interviewed through physically and also through online Google Meet. For the story verifications, news topics have been taken by a follow-up news and also from news article online. Multiple sources have been included into one news topic, and all sources have the references so that no patent statement are being used by myself. The next one is the positives and negatives. So, looking on to the positives on my both assignments, the flow of the news are understandable and well composed for readers to read and understand the news. Second one is the stories were written based on structure and on how news are supposed to be reported. And sayings of news from any interviewees and politicians have been quoted so that people will know where the quotes are from. And for the negatives part of my both assignments, unfortunately there are a few grammatical errors and punctuations that need to be taken more attentively. And also I should add more interviewees for the news in order to get more experience and also raw feelings of the event. So what are the changes that can be made in my both assignments? The same thing, grammatical errors and also my punctuations can be improved. More sources and also interviews can be added so that we have more views and perceptions on the news that I'm reporting. Different choices of topics can be reported based on the time period, which is I was supposed to choose to write on Deepavali, but I chose to write on the other topic. And use less sources on the internet and more sources from interviews of citizens that are affected by the event of the news. So, last but not least, my conclusion. Basically, I've learned on how to write news in a more descriptive way and a more structured way. And I should also avoid careless mistakes and also improvement on the grammatical errors on the assignment 3. Improve the skills on writing a proper news in a more advanced method. And the last one is get the opportunity. I get the opportunity and experience from people's perspectives about how they feel on the news that I'm writing on. Yeah, that's all for me. Okay. So what I've learned in more detail about this assignment 2 and 3. As I interview for my both interviewees, they have expressed their feelings on how they felt, especially for the flash floods in my assignment 3. That one person have said that they have a lot of problems because their place always gets flooded due to their house is in the lower area, and also the other person, which is which is his for the other person that is their house the other person that said that they have a tough time to deal with the damages that have been taken to their properties because of every time they flood, once their properties have been damaged, they have to change and all. So this is what I got from them, their raw feelings. So that's how we learn, get the experience, and put it into a use, so that we can share it to the people and let people know how they experience the problem that we're having in Malaysia.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 10 minutes and 33 seconds. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Yeah, okay, so based on your presentation, I think that okay, it's clear. Okay, introduction. I actually like how you actually introduce and you give us everything. Okay, and then yeah, I do notice that you actually read from yourself. So no, next time just try to avoid reading too much because I don't think it's still very important in your interview in your presentation. And also, I would like to know because I haven't read the assignment 3 yet. Okay, then how about the flash flood? Okay, because you actually try to address the issue, right? Especially in big area. I'm not sure that during the monsoon season will it be very serious in Benin compared to some other states such as Selangor.
So far, why I've chosen the flash flood area, because in mainland there are certain areas which is in Macang Kubo and Sungai Ramban, which often gets flooded every time when it rains heavily. So and then I've also found that a few news articles which one of the councillors came and talked about the problems, and also that's why I wanted to write specifically on that. And the news that happened, the flood was also a month ago, I think. So it was very recent. So that's why I wanted to choose.
Yeah, so what's the solution? Is there any solution provided in your article to tackle the problem of flash flood in Benin area?
The solution that I've gotten from the sources, so far they say they will rise up the sewerage pond. Maybe they'll make it more higher, or either the drains. Because for the reason for certain places that gets flooded is because the drains are not deep enough, so that they'll have like better flow, water flow and all. So that's why they are having these floods. So once if maybe the Ministry of the Water Ministry, they came and solved this problem by doing a better drainage problem and the sewage one, then maybe it might solve the problem of the floods.
Okay. So I think that okay, that's all for your presentation. Thank you very much for your contribution. And thank you everyone for your contribution this semester. I think that okay, yeah, you hope that pass for sure. Okay, because actually you all submit the assignment, right? Okay. I don't see any problem.